If your restaurant is busy, your guests are happy, and your sales are growing, but your profits are disappearing, there is a good chance your food cost is the problem. And here is the frustrating part. Most restaurants do not lose money because they buy the wrong products. They lose money because of hundreds of small operational mistakes happening every single day. A few extra grams on every plate, a supplier invoice that is not properly analyzed, a menu item that looks popular but actually destroys your margin, a refrigerator failure that nobody notices until thousands of dollars of products are already gone. The good news is that food cost is not something you simply have to accept. Today, I will share with you 10 practical strategies used by successful restaurants and hospitality operators to control food costs, reduce waste, and protect profitability. But before we start, there is one important thing you need to understand. Do not try to fix everything at the same time. This is one of the biggest mistakes restaurant owners make. They identify five problems, create 10 new procedures, overwhelm their team, and after 2 weeks, nothing has really changed. The right approach is different. First, identify the areas where you are losing the most money. Fix those, create a system, train your team, then move to the next improvement. Because food cost control is not about doing more, it is about building better systems. So let's start with the first strategy. And this one can completely change the profitability of your restaurant. Menu engineering and profitability analysis. One of the biggest mistakes restaurants make is focusing only on reducing costs. But sometimes the problem is not that your costs are too high. The problem is that your menu is not designed to generate enough profit. This is where menu engineering becomes critical. Every item on your menu has two important numbers. First, how much it costs you to produce. Second, how much profit it generates. Many restaurants only look at sales volume. They think this dish sells a lot, so it must be good. But a popular dish can actually be hurting your business if the margin is too low. You need to analyze every menu item. What is the food cost percentage? How many units are sold? What is the contribution margin? Which items should be promoted? Which items should be redesigned? Which items should disappear? For example, imagine a steakhouse. A premium steak may have a high food cost percentage. At first glance, it looks like a problem, but customers ordering that steak may also buy wine, cocktails, appetizers, and high margin side dishes. The complete customer journey creates profitability. That is why successful operators do not manage individual dishes. They manage the profitability of the entire menu. And this leads us to the second point, because even the best designed menu will fail if your kitchen team does not produce every dish consistently. Recipe, standardization, and portion control. Your recipe cards are one of the most powerful tools you have to control food cost. Why? Because without standardization, your food cost is impossible to control. Think about a simple example. A burger recipe says 180 grams of beef, but depending on which chef prepares it, some portions are 180 grams, some are 200 grams, and some are 230 grams. The difference looks small, but if you sell hundreds of burgers every month, those extra grams become thousands of dollars of lost profit. Recipe standardization means defining exactly ingredient quantities, preparation methods, plating standards, portion sizes, final presentation. And this is not only about controlling costs, it is also about customer experience. Your guests should receive the same dish whether they come on Monday night or Saturday evening, the same quality, the same portion, the same value. Professional kitchens do not rely on memory, they rely on systems, and portion control is one of those systems. Regular portion checks, kitchen line audits, and proper training can dramatically reduce unnecessary food consumption without affecting guest satisfaction. But even with perfect recipes and perfect portions, you can still lose a significant amount of money through another hidden problem: waste. Waste management and spoilage control. Food waste is one of the easiest areas to ignore because it often happens in small amounts. A damaged vegetable here, an incorrect preparation there, a returned dish, expired products forgotten in the refrigerator. Individually, these losses seem insignificant, but over a month or a year, they represent a serious financial leak. The first step is simple: you need to measure your waste. Create a waste tracking system. Every time food is thrown away, record what product was wasted, the quantity, the reason, who was responsible. The objective is not to blame employees. The objective is to understand patterns. Maybe your kitchen is preparing too much food before peak hours. Maybe certain menu items create too much waste. Maybe your storage system creates unnecessary spoilage. Once you have the data, you can solve the real problem. Because you cannot reduce what you do not measure. The best restaurants are not those that never create waste. That is impossible. The best restaurants are those that understand exactly where waste comes from and continuously improve their processes. I really invite you to at least assess time to time your total food waste. And if you need help for implementing an easy and costless food waste tracking system, our experts in food waste management will be very happy to present to you our solutions. Easy and really straightforward to implement. Drop us an email and let's start increasing your profit. Now, after looking at your menu, your recipes, and your waste, the next major area is where many restaurants lose money before the products even enter the kitchen: purchasing. Purchasing management. Buy smarter, not just cheaper. Many restaurant owners believe that purchasing is simply about negotiating lower prices. It isn't. Great purchasing is about buying the right products in the right quantities at the right time. One of the biggest reasons restaurants lose money is overordering. When inventory sits in storage for too long, products expire, quality deteriorates, and eventually food ends up in the trash. On the other hand, underordering creates emergency purchases, supplier substitutions, and inconsistent guest experiences. A simple purchasing system driven by the analyze of your existing data can solve most of these problems. Forecast your expected sales, define a purchasing budget based on your target food cost. Review inventory before ordering and compare supplier prices regularly. Also, you can work around the size of the packaging for the products you use. For example, if you serve 2 kilograms of corn flakes every breakfast, it might be interesting to consider to purchase big quantities bags instead of 500 grams carton boxes. Remember, every unnecessary purchase increases your inventory. And excess inventory is money that is sleeping in your cold rooms and almost always becomes future waste. Money directly to the bin that we generally consider as okay because the food waste cost is already integrated into the food cost. Product spoilage is not an objective that you have to reach. Speaking of inventory, there's another area where restaurants quietly lose thousands of dollars every year, and many owners never even realize it's happening. Inventory control. Prevent losses before they happen. Inventory isn't only about knowing how much stock you have, it's about knowing where your money is going. The products most likely to disappear are usually the most expensive ones: premium meat, seafood, alcohol, high value ingredients. Instead of counting your entire inventory every day, identify your most valuable products. Count 5 to 10 critical items every shift. Compare physical stock with expected stock. If something doesn't match, investigate immediately because the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to identify the cause. Was it theft, an incorrect recipe, a receiving mistake, poor portioning, a forgotten transfer? The objective isn't to catch employees. The objective is to identify operational weaknesses before they become expensive habits. Restaurants that monitor key inventory items continuously usually experience far fewer surprises during monthly inventory counts. Now, once your products arrive safely, there is another invisible threat that can destroy thousands of dollars of inventory overnight. Protect your cold chain. Imagine arriving at your restaurant in the morning. You open the walk in refrigerator, and every product inside has to be thrown away. Unfortunately, this happens more often than most operators think. One refrigeration failure, one freezer door left open, one compressor malfunction, thousands of dollars lost. And that's before considering food safety risks. This is why temperature monitoring must become part of your daily routine. Every refrigeration unit should be checked several times throughout the day. Record temperatures, investigate abnormal readings immediately, check how long it takes to a fridge or cold room to reach the temperature set point after being filled. Train your managers to react before products become unsafe. Today, digital monitoring systems can even send alerts directly to your phone. Compared to the cost of replacing spoiled inventory, these systems usually pay for themselves very quickly. But controlling your suppliers can save just as much money as protecting your inventory. Negotiate better with your suppliers. Many restaurants stay loyal to the same supplier for years without ever reviewing their prices. That loyalty can become expensive. Markets change, suppliers change, products and ingredients are subject to price inflation or not. Your purchasing volume changes. You should regularly compare pricing, negotiate contracts, and evaluate alternative suppliers. If you operate multiple restaurants or if purchasing groups exist in your region, consider joining a group purchasing organization. A GPO combines the buying power of many businesses to negotiate lower prices, rebates, and better purchasing conditions. However, there is important point here. Don't automatically buy the cheapest product. Buy the product that delivers the best value while maintaining your quality standards. Because saving 5% on ingredients isn't worth losing loyal customers. Now, let's move inside the kitchen, where one simple daily routine can dramatically reduce operational mistakes. Use daily kitchen line checklists. Professional kitchens don't run on memory, they run on checklists. Before every service, supervisors should verify that every station is properly prepared. Ingredients are stored correctly, portioning tools are available, recipes are accessible, temperatures are correct, prep quantities are appropriate. This simple 5-minute inspection prevents many of the mistakes that later become expensive. It reduces overproduction. It prevents unnecessary preparation. It identifies equipment problems early. And it reinforces consistency across the entire kitchen. Checklists may seem basic, but aviation, healthcare, and the world's best hotel kitchens all rely on them for exactly the same reason. People make mistakes. Systems reduce mistakes. Of course, to improve your systems, you also need reliable financial information. Track your invoices and food cost accurately. You cannot control what you don't measure. Many restaurants calculate food cost incorrectly because invoices are poorly categorized. Food, beverages, cleaning products, packaging, small equipment. These costs should not all be mixed together. A structured invoice log allows you to monitor purchasing trends, compare suppliers, and calculate your actual food cost with confidence. Over time, you'll notice price increases, unusual purchases, and opportunities to negotiate better contracts. Remember, good decisions require good data, and accurate financial data starts with organized invoices. Finally, let's finish with one habit that separates average operators from outstanding restaurant managers. Measure your ideal food cost against your actual food cost. Every restaurant should know two numbers. The first is your ideal food cost. This is what your food cost should be if every recipe is followed perfectly. No waste, no theft, no spoilage, perfect portions. The difference between these two numbers tells the real story. If the gap is small, if your systems are working. If the gap is large, something is happening inside your operation, and now you know exactly where to investigate. Instead of guessing, you manage using facts. And that's exactly what successful hospitality businesses do. Conclusion: the five areas that really determine your food cost. So, we've just covered 10 practical strategies that can significantly reduce your food cost. But here's something I've learned after working with hospitality businesses over the years. If you try to remember 10 different techniques, you'll probably remember none of them. Instead, I want you to think about food cost in five major operational areas. Every dollar you lose is usually coming from one of these five categories. If you understand them, you'll know exactly where to focus your efforts. Purchasing. The first area is purchasing. This is everything that happens before your products even arrive in your kitchen. Are you buying the right quantities? Are you forecasting demand accurately? Are you negotiating competitive prices? Are you purchasing from the right suppliers? Buying too much increases spoilage. Buying too little creates emergency orders and operational stress. The solution is simple: forecast your sales. Define purchasing budgets, review supplier performance regularly, and purchase based on data, not habit. Waste. The second area is waste. This includes preparation mistakes, expired product, overproduction, returned dishes, improper storage, and spoilage. Most restaurants know they have waste. Very few actually measure it. And if you don't measure it, you can't improve it. Create a simple waste log. Record what was wasted, why it happened, and how much it cost. Within a few weeks, you'll begin to see patterns, and patterns lead to solutions. The third area is portion control. This is probably one of the fastest ways to recover lost profit. Your guests should receive exactly the same portion every single time. Not because you're trying to save money, but because consistency is one of the foundations of quality. Recipe cards, standard serving utensils, kitchen training, line checks, these simple systems eliminate unnecessary food usage while improving the guest experience at the same time. The fourth area is inventory losses. This includes theft, receiving errors, poor stock rotation, unrecorded transfers, or simply products disappearing without explanation. Don't wait until your monthly inventory count to discover problems. Monitor your high value products every day. Small daily corrections are much easier than solving large monthly surprises. Finally, the fifth area is menu profitability. This is where many restaurants leave money on the table. Sometimes your biggest selling dish isn't your most profitable. Sometimes a dish with a relatively high food cost actually generates excellent overall profit because guests order drinks, desserts, or premium side dishes with it. That's why menu engineering is such a powerful management tool. Don't just ask what sells, ask what makes money. Those are two very different questions. And before we finish, I want to come back to something I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Please Don't try to implement all 10 strategies next week. That's one of the biggest mistakes restaurant owners make. Instead, identify the area that's costing you the most money today. Maybe it's waste, maybe it's portion control, maybe it's purchasing, or maybe your menu simply isn't profitable enough. Choose one priority, build a process, train your team, measure the results, turn that improvement into a habit. Only then should you move on to the next opportunity, because that's how the best restaurants improve, not through massive overnight changes, but through continuous operational excellence. And if you can build strong systems in the five main areas of the operations, you'll not only reduce your food cost, you'll build a more profitable, more consistent, and ultimately more successful restaurant. If you found this video valuable, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We share practical strategies to help hospitality professionals improve profitability, reduce operating costs, and build more sustainable businesses. And we'd love to know your opinion. Which of these 10 strategies do you think would have the biggest impact on your restaurant? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.